I received a letter from the IRS, letter number 4883C, potential identity theft. We're going to talk about AI in this video too. Letter 4883C, potential identity theft. This tells the taxpayer to call the IRS to verify their identity and tax return information. I called the number. The customer service rep was so nice. She put me on hold 3 times. And when she came back on the phone after the 3rd time, and I answered all her questions, and I had everything at my disposal, she told me that I needed to make an appointment to meet with the IRS in person. So she set the appointment for me over the phone. I use TurboTax to prepare my tax return. And because TurboTax makes it so easy to amend a tax return, that I amended my tax return twice because I forgot to add 2 legitimate business expenses. The IRS representative explained to me how they now use a algorithm to help them catch identity theft or decide who needs to get audited. This was posted June 6, 2024. Currently, IRS uses both manual processes and AI to help select taxpayers claiming refundable credits, such as the Earned Income Tax Credit, for audit. Beginning this year, IRS plans to use a new AI model to help it identify taxpayers for audit that are more likely to owe additional taxes. But in my case, me receiving the letter 4883C, the IRS representative was explaining to me how they are now implementing AI to help them set off red flags. And me amending my taxes, adding 2 small business expenses, even though it was easy on TurboTax, set off that algorithm, which made them send me a letter, which got me on the phone to speak with someone. And then I was told that I needed to go in and speak with an IRS representative in person. Before I move forward and finish telling you the story, what happened to me in the IRS office, I'm going to give this man a shout out. Clear Value Tax. Check out his YouTube channel if you want to learn how to use TurboTax to prepare your own tax return. He has how to do taxes for beginners. He teaches a lot about taxes. And he also has how to file taxes on TurboTax. Now, I've taught myself a lot in the past 3 years with the help of TurboTax live representatives. But now, over the summer, I'm going to take the time to watch as many videos as I can by this man teaching people how to do their taxes using TurboTax, because I feel watching his videos not only will teach me more, but probably answer many questions that I have, because I'm struggling to teach myself, but I'm moving forward and I'm making it. I have a feeling his videos will help me in learning more and answer many of my questions. I walked into the office and I went, hello. I was like, hi, you helped me last time. I remember you. She had blonde hair. She was like, well, I'm the only blonde here. And she, I sat down, we greeted each other. She said, take your time. She was so nice. And I had everything at my fingertips to hand her. She listened to me for 60 seconds. I told her what led up to me being sent to the IRS to speak in person. And I said, the IRS, when I amended my taxes, that's when the IRS wanted to know what I was doing. And she was like, I'm happy you said that because it's not the IRS. We use algorithms. And she explained to me what I already showed you in the video, what they are implementing to help them streamline, simplify, well, less people needed. Jobs will be replaced with the use of AI. I've discussed this many times. It's just another example in another industry that I never took into consideration. So that's why I've said many times, you must become an expert in at least one or two things, because the jobs beneath that expert level, eventually most of them will be replaced with the use of AI. This was a short visit. I gave her the letters. Now we discuss about, identity theft, and she explained a few more things to me, how the process works. I don't have to tell you everything, but I learned a lot. And I'm really grateful I went in immediately. I'm really grateful when I got those letters the next day I called, because this could have turned into more of a mess when it didn't need to be. So I learned a lot, and I think it came back to her. I said I've been working really hard, and I showed them my folders. She never asked me for any receipts. I had my envelopes, had everything organized to show the 2 business expenses that I added, because she sees it on a screen. This is an educated woman who knows how to do a job, and she knows how to speak to people, and she is a lifter, a motivator, with me anyway. And we got to know each other a little bit. I did share a story. I come from an environment of, control and fear. And then she told me a little bit about herself, and we just meshed. So fast forward, I took some notes just to not babble. These are the things she said to me. She said, I'm an example to follow. She used different words, but the point was, more people should do what you're doing. And she understands with technology, people should jump on board to become more self-sufficient and use technology like TurboTax to, take better care of yourself. The more you understand, the more you can take care of yourself, self-sufficient. Then she praised me. She continued to praise me, just like she did last time. She told me not to give up. She told me to keep doing what I'm doing. She told me I'm doing a great job. She told me I'm on the right path. Continue learning. Keep doing what you're doing. Why? Because it's working. What you're doing is working. And she helped me. She gave me more confidence to understand that I'm doing it the right way. I told her what happened with TurboTax. She listened to my story for 60 seconds. I praised their live representatives. In the past 2 years, I was trained on the phone, and how they said, soon you'll be working for TurboTax. And she went, you will be working for TurboTax, Michelle. You keep it up, you will be working for TurboTax. We discussed how I'm using the app and how I put together, all the files, and I uploaded them, how it all worked. And the man said, you did all the work. You don't need to pay someone to do your taxes. And he helped me where I got stuck on that one question. Then I told her I amended my taxes twice because I had paperwork everywhere. I told her I was a mess, an absolute mess. When I walked into that office, I wasn't a mess anymore. I had my folders properly set up. I even showed her my 2024 folder, but I told her I found a receipt here and I found a receipt there. They were legitimate business expenses. And TurboTax makes it so simple. When you do it quickly, right after you do your taxes, I don't know if you can do this years down the line, and I just added it and I resubmitted it and it was approved. But it set off a red flag with the algorithm about identity theft. Why is this small business expense being added? What's going on here? It set it off. So then when I spoke on the phone with the person, well, I called the IRS, and whoever helped me put me on hold 3 times for 10 minutes. And I'm not making that up. And then the fourth time she said, even though I had everything at my disposal, she said, you got to go into the IRS. We have these hours open this week. I said, I'll go tomorrow. I'm ready. And she told me what to bring. And I brought my social security. I had my birth certificate. I had my license. And it was all about identity. This is a part of their future with identity protection, because people like me are going to be using technology. And she explained, she also discussed for a couple of minutes how people can thief, how people can steal, you have to be careful. You have to protect yourself. And she taught me a lot. The more the mainstream uses technology to perform tasks that they used to hire people to do, they're using the internet. Everything's being done on the web and on apps. That makes people more vulnerable. I know I'm not saying it right, but you know what I mean. Because there's a lot more doors open. Like I build my websites. I use plugins. They say use the least amount of plugins as possible. And if you're not using a plugin, delete it, because it leaves an extra door open for your website to be attacked. It's the same concept. Before I share with you her last words to me, before I walked out of that little office cubicle, I need to share with you something that I felt I should do. I paid to use a program to put together a CVS file for me to send it over to TurboTax, showing all my crypto purchases and a few sales. And I know I listen to a lot of channels, and they feel that the government shouldn't know what you have in your cold storage wallets. I felt that I should go down the route of letting the IRS know how much I have invested in crypto and what cryptos I own. They know. I did my best to submit all my wallet addresses. I'm sure if I sit down and go through it, I really would like to do that this summer, go through them all. I'm sure I'm going to find a few that I missed. But I got most of them up there, that's for sure. Into the program, it created the file that I could easily upload to TurboTax. I feel that will help speed up the process of crypto regulatory clarity, the mainstream using crypto. I mean, it's okay if they have my wallet addresses. They're not going to take it from me. I know I'm going to have to pay taxes on it eventually. It's not like I'm trying to hide paying taxes. But do you think that woman did not see that on her end? And I say this for a reason, because what she said to me before I walked out of there, I was a little slow with it sinking in, but before I left the building, I was in a whole different state, and it was a positive state. And she didn't have to say what she said. She don't know me that well for her to say what she said to me. But she sees what she sees on her screen. And all the information I submitted to TurboTax, that included my few investments on Fidelity. I've spoken about that. I'll just have a few bucks here and there. And I let the IRS know exactly what I own. And I feel that will help speed up the whole world using the new monetary system, and will create a whole new generation of multimillionaires. That's how I see it. This is what she said to me. Okay, I say thank you, and I'm putting stuff back in my little bag. I was very organized, and I went to stand up, and I said, I'm so happy that this wasn't more of a problem. I was nervous. I'm so happy this is over with, and thank you for teaching me more, whatever I said. So I went to go, I was in the process of grabbing my stuff and turning around, and she went, Michelle, think of it this way. When you earn your first million, you'll be preparing your own tax return.